15% of men in this country say they have no close friends. That number was 3% in 1990, went from 3 to 15 in one generation. That is not just a statistic, that is a crisis. And if you are watching this video, there is a good chance you are one of those 15%. I am 88 years old. I drove freight trains for Union Pacific for 38 years. I have been alone more than most people can imagine. Alone in a locomotive cab at 2 in the morning, crossing the Medicine Bow Range with nothing but the diesel engine and the dark and my own thoughts for company. I know what solitude feels like. I know the difference between solitude and loneliness, and I am going to tell you what I learned, because I almost died from not knowing it. My wife died past 6 years ago. We were married 54 years, and when she died, I discovered something terrible about myself. I did not know how to be alone. I had spent decades in that locomotive cab by myself, but I had never actually been alone. Because I always had Doy to come home to. She was my entire social life. She kept track of the birthdays, the anniversaries, the neighbors' names. She made the phone calls and planned the dinners and maintained the friendships. I just showed up where she told me to show up. When she died, I had nothing. I mean nothing. I did not know how to feed myself anything besides scrambled eggs. I did not have a single friend I could call. My sons live in Texas and Oregon, and they have their own lives. I sat in my recliner for almost a year and watched television and waited to die. I lost 22 lbs. My doctor told me I was killing myself. I said, I know. Now, I want to talk to you about what happened after that, because I am still here. I am 88 years old, and I am alone in this house, and I am not waiting to die anymore. Something changed, and what changed is what I want to tell you about. The first thing I had to understand is that there is a difference between being alone and being lonely. They are not the same thing. You can be surrounded by people and be desperately lonely. You can be by yourself and not be lonely at all. Loneliness is not about whether there are other people in the room. Loneliness is about whether you have a relationship with yourself. Now that sounds strange, a relationship with yourself. But think about it. If you had a friend, someone you were going to spend every hour of every day with for the rest of your life, what would you want from that person? You would want someone honest, someone who tells you the truth, even when it is uncomfortable, someone who is not going to lie to you and let you believe things that are not true. You would want someone encouraging, someone who sees possibilities and gently pushes you to be better. You would want someone forgiving, someone who knows your failures and your mistakes and does not beat you up about them forever. That is what you need to be to yourself. Because here is the truth that nobody tells young men especially. You are the one person who will be with you every single moment of your life until you die. Every other relationship is temporary. Your parents will die. Your spouse might die first or might leave. Your children will move away. Your friends will come and go. But you will be there every morning when you wake up and every night when you go to sleep. You are the one companion you cannot escape. And if you are not someone you want to be alone with, you have a problem. I was not someone I wanted to be alone with. That first year after Doy died, I hated being in my own head. I would turn on the television the moment I woke up, not because I wanted to watch anything, but because I could not stand the silence. I could not stand being left alone with my own thoughts, because my own thoughts were terrible. They were full of regret and self-criticism and all the things I should have done differently and all the ways I had failed. You see, I had spent 54 years outsourcing my emotional life to my wife. She was the one who told me I was doing okay. She was the one who forgave me when I messed up. She was the one who encouraged me to keep going. When she died, I had no skills for doing those things for myself. I was 79 years old, and I had never learned how to be my own companion. So I had to learn, and I am going to tell you what I learned, because I think a lot of you need to hear it. The first thing is, you have to tell yourself the truth. Not brutal truth, not beating yourself up, just honest truth. You have to stop pretending you are something you are not. You have to stop lying to yourself about what you have done and who you are. I had to face the fact that I had been a mediocre father. I worked too much. I was gone for days at a time running the railroad, and when I was home, I was tired, and I did not give my boys the attention they deserved. I had to face that truth not to punish myself, but because you cannot be comfortable with someone who is lying to you all the time, and that includes yourself. But here is the important part. After you tell yourself the truth, you have to forgive yourself. You have to say, yes, that was not okay, but I am a human being, and I did the best I could with what I knew at the time, and I am not that person anymore if I choose not to be. If you are sitting alone with yourself, and all you do is beat yourself up over the past, you are never going to want to be alone with yourself. You are going to run from solitude into any distraction you can find. Television, alcohol, bad relationships, anything to escape the voice in your head that will not stop criticizing you. I had to learn to be kind to myself. That sounds soft. It sounds weak. I am an old railroad man who worked in blizzards and derailments. And I'm telling you that learning to be kind to yourself is one of the hardest things a man can do, because we are taught not to. We are taught to be tough and push through and never complain. And there is value in that. But there is a difference between being tough and being cruel. And a lot of men are cruel to themselves in ways they would never be cruel to another person. The second thing I learned is that you have to become someone you respect, not someone other people respect, someone you respect. Because you are going to be alone with yourself, and if you do not respect the person you are, that time alone is going to be miserable. What does that mean? It means you have to do hard things. It means you have to keep promises to yourself. It means you have to build something, learn something, contribute something. After Daddy died, I taught myself to cook. I was 79 years old, and I had never made anything more complicated than canned chili. I bought a cookbook, and I started making real meals. Roast chicken, beef stew, things used to make. It took me months to get decent at it. I ruined more food than I ate, but I was doing something. I was building a skill. I was becoming someone who could take care of himself, and that gave me a reason to respect myself. I started walking every morning, no matter the weather. I live in Wyoming. There is plenty of weather, but I get up and I walk 2 miles before breakfast because I made a promise to myself that I would. And I keep promises to myself the same as I would keep a promise to anyone else, because if you do not keep promises to yourself, you lose respect for yourself. And if you do not respect yourself, you cannot stand to be alone with yourself. The third thing is, you have to find something to do that matters. Not something that makes money or impresses people, something that matters to you, something that gets you out of bed in the morning. For me, it is building model trains. That probably sounds foolish. I am 88 years old, and I spend hours in my basement working on a model railroad layout, but it gives me something to do with my hands and my mind. It connects me to the work I did for 40 years. When I am working on that layout, I am not lonely. I am engaged. I am solving problems. I am creating something. What matters is not what the activity is. What matters is that you have one. Because human beings are not built to sit and do nothing. We are built to work and create and contribute. When you stop doing those things, you start to die. I mean that literally. The research shows that people who have a sense of purpose live longer than people who do not. It is not just about feeling good. It is about biology. Your body knows when you have given up, and it starts shutting down. After I started cooking and walking and working on my trains, I noticed something. I was not dreading the mornings anymore. I was not sitting in that recliner wishing I was dead. I still miss Doi. I will miss her until I die. But the loneliness was not crushing me the way it had been, because I had become someone I could tolerate being alone with. Now, I want to talk about something else. Because learning to be alone is not the same as giving up on other people. There is a lot of talk these days about young men being lonely, about men not having friends, about men withdrawing from society. And I understand it. I understand the temptation to say, fine, I do not need anyone. I will just be by myself. But that is not what I am telling you to do. What I am telling you is that you need to be able to be alone before you can be with others in a healthy way. Because if you cannot stand to be alone with yourself, you will cling to relationships that are bad for you. You will stay with people who treat you poorly because being with them is better than being with yourself. You will accept things you should not accept because you are desperate for any connection at all. When you can be alone, when you can be your own companion, you gain the ability to choose your relationships instead of needing them. And that changes everything. I have friends now, not many, but good ones. I go to breakfast every Tuesday and Thursday at the truck stop on Del Range. There are 6 of us old-timers who meet there. We drink coffee and complain about politics and talk about the weather and what hurts today. It is not deep emotional sharing. We're old men from Wyoming. We do not do that. But it is connection. It is community. It is enough. I have those friendships because I do not need them. And that might sound backwards, but it is true. I can show up to that breakfast and be myself because I am not desperate for their approval. I am not clinging to them to fill a void. I have done the work of filling my own void so I can be present with them instead of needing them. Men are not good at making friends after a certain age. I know this. The research shows it, and my own experience confirms it. We build friendships through activities, through work, through shared projects. We are not good at sitting down and talking about our feelings, and that is fine. You do not have to become someone you are not. But you do have to make an effort. You have to show up somewhere regularly. You have to be willing to talk to strangers. You have to accept that it is awkward and uncomfortable and do it anyway. I almost did not go to that first breakfast at the truck stop. I sat in my truck in the parking lot for 20 minutes trying to talk myself out of it. I was 79 years old and terrified of walking into a room full of strangers. But I did it because I knew that if I did not, I was going to die alone in that recliner and nobody would find me for days. There is something else I want to say to the young men watching this, because I read what is being written about young men and loneliness, and some of it worries me. Do not let your loneliness turn into bitterness. Do not let it turn into hatred. I see young men who are so angry at the world, at women, at society, because they are lonely and they do not know what to do about it. And I understand the anger. Loneliness hurts. It is a physical pain. It is as damaging to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That is what the research shows. So the pain is real. But the answer is not to burn the world down. The answer is to become someone worthy of connection, not to demand that others connect with you, not to blame others for your isolation, but to do the work of becoming a person that people want to be around. That means being honest. That means being kind. That means being reliable. That means contributing instead of just taking. And it means being patient, because connection takes time. Friendships do not form overnight. Trust does not build in a week. You have to show up over and over again, month after month, year after year, before relationships deepen into something meaningful. There are no shortcuts. I have been alone for 6 years now. Truly alone in a way I was not for the first 79 years of my life. And I can tell you that it is survivable. It is more than survivable. There is a kind of peace in it that I did not expect. I wake up when I want. I eat what I want. I spend my time how I choose. I answer to no one but myself. There are worse fates, but I had to work for that peace. I had to become someone I could stand to be alone with. I had to find purpose and routine and discipline. I had to force myself out of that recliner and into the world. It did not happen by accident, and it did not happen overnight. You can do this, whatever age you are, whatever situation you are in. You can learn to be your own companion. You can learn to tell yourself the truth with kindness. You can learn to forgive yourself and respect yourself and take care of yourself. You can build a life that does not depend on other people while still leaving room for other people in it. It starts with a decision. Are you going to sit in the recliner and wait to die, or are you going to get up and live? I sat in that recliner for almost a year before I made my decision. I hope it does not take you that long. Doi would be proud of me. I think she always said I was too stubborn to quit. Turns out she was right about that. At least I am 88 years old and I am still here, and I am not waiting to die anymore. That is something. Maybe it is.